Just as you can break down a trail into sections made up of entry, section and exit, and effectively chunk a segment of trail into individual sections, so too a skill can be broken, or a technique can be broken down into core skills. For an example, cornering is made up of many elements: footwork, looking, body position, entry, section, exit, speed control, etc. You could try and practice all of those together on a corner, on a trail. The chances are of actually developing your skill particularly well there is low. What we need to do is isolate elements of that technique, individual skills, polish those, and then put them back into the whole. So this fire road may not seem the best place to hone your cornering skills, but certainly when it comes to polishing the elements and chunking the technique down into core skills, this is as good a place as any. If I practice certain elements of cornering on a nice simple terrain, a blank canvas where it's free from performance cues, free from the worry of making a corner, the speed, the quality of the trail I'm riding in terms of bumps, etc. I can focus in completely on what I'm doing, build muscle memory, and start to develop a much stronger core technique. So for instance, on this fire road, if I practice applying footwork over and over again by zigzagging down this fire road, it may seem that that's a bit pointless. But when it comes to hitting single track, I've already repeated a core element of that cornering many times, and therefore when it comes to applying it, I don't have to think about how to do it. I just do it. It's all available to me in my unconscious. The corner becomes a trigger for a chain of events. Rather than having to think about each of the links in that chain, the corner is the signal just to do things. A bit like changing gear in a car. You see a corner, you know you've got to change gear. There are about seven or eight things you need to do in a sequence. You don't have to think about that sequence. You just see the corner and change gear. Same technique, but we're aiming to improve. Different element we're thinking about. Same piece of fire road. This time I'm going to think about pushing the bike over with my hand, not my hips. That will allow me to keep my weight over the centre line of the bike as I lean it into a corner. In turn, as I drop my outside foot, my weight stays between the centre line of the tyres and enables me to twist my hips through the corner and drive the bike through the corner. It's very common though, once we start to hit trail at speed, we start to knock the bike over with the hips. And in doing so, as we add speed, technique starts to go out the window. Speed should be the last thing you add to most techniques. You'll hear a lot of people just say hit it hard and go for it. That's certainly true as an element and an important integral element of your riding if you're doing everything else right. If you've got everything else wrong, just going fast with lots of confidence isn't going to help you. So that in a nutshell is how chunking works, breaking down techniques into core skills. We've looked at it time and time again through the articles, but it's very easy when we're striving just for pure speed to think about power, to think about stamping those pedals hard, using might over technique. When you're doing that, you tend to tighten up on the bike. As you force things, you're less fluid on the bike. In thinking about speed alone, some of the core skills that go to contributing towards control at speed go out the window. And that's why things start to go wrong when people go faster. So whereas that chunking of core skills out on the far road may seem detached from riding trail and nothing to do with riding single track fast and banging yourself up the old Strava tables, it is in a sense as close as you can get to the trail without the trail. It is stripping back the technique into core components that make up and are fundamentally the DNA of good riding. So the terrain itself doesn't matter in terms of building the skills. This is where we apply the skills. We've got a left, a right, a left, a right. If I'm in the right gear and I use the right footwork and time my pedal strokes, my flow and rhythm down the trail will be massively increased. My speed through the section overall will gradually increase and increase rather than being stop-starty. Those people that pedal on the straights and level pedal around corners don't get to accelerate through the corners as well. Temptation is to overcook it on the sprint, on the straight bit, and lead to late braking in the section and decelerating through a section. What I want to do, regardless of how fast I'm going to go, is accelerate through the section. So with each crank turn and each bit of good technique into each corner, each little dip of the knee and each twist of the hips, I'm going to power the pedal stroke, I'm then going to pump the bike. So I've got two inputs of power through the corner, and and hopefully that should lead to a faster time down the trail. Anyone at the top of a Strava league table, guaranteed they've got good footwork in corners. Dropping the outside pedal in the right gear so there's a moment of drive, commitment and acceleration through corners. So although this little section of trail here meanders gently, and some people might not view that as a corner and therefore need to use good footwork, purely by making sure I'm timing my pedal strokes in the correct manner, right foot down as I come through here, left foot down as I come through here, right foot into the next slight meander. All of that extra pedalling at the right time contributes to flow. So rather than having to force my pedalling into short sections of straight trail, I'm generating speed for far more of the trail.